I like big butts and I cannot lie.
There are over 650 skeletal muscles in the human body, so I realize that declaring the most important muscle may seem ridiculous. Picture a skeleton with only one developed area. It's pretty silly. All the muscles are important and serve a necessary function in the chain. But still, it's an interesting question if you had to answer it. What is the most important muscle and why? And this question should not be limited by gender or type of activity. What would be the most beneficial muscle to have developed in all regards? I'm on the record many times stating that the core is the most important grouping of muscles. They're at our center and basically connect and house the upper and lower body. But that's a pretty big group of muscles. So narrowing it down further, I think a pretty solid case can be made for the glutes, which some people, including myself, include as part of the core. And even without considering glutes in terms of health, they may be the most culturally significant of the human muscles. I mean, we're the only animals that have butt cheeks. And that has to do with the fact that we stand upright as well as sit down. So they are unique to us and have served as an aesthetically pleasing muscle throughout human history, signaling strength, beauty, and fertility. And speaking specifically on modern times, I'm sure you can think of at least a couple of songs about the butt. And there are likely dozens, if not hundreds more, that involve or reference the booty in some way. And you can't really say the same about any other muscle. But let's get back to the health and fitness side of things. The glutes are a grouping of three muscles: the gluteus minimus, the gluteus medius, and the most substantial of the three, the gluteus maximus. The glute max, in particular, is the largest singular muscle in the body, and it may also be the strongest. There is some debate as to whether or not the masseter is a little stronger than the booty. But enough of me jabbering. Let's hear from Coach Grace and Coach Hunter on more of the specifics on glute training.
I'm going to do my dance, don't you?
Yeah,
You're like, we're going to start recording now.
Yeah. Bruce, I just called you Bruce.
Bruce? You call me Bruce?
Bruce, because I was going to say Grace and glutes. Bruce. You see how that can happen?
Bruce.
Curious for your thoughts on why glutes are so important for health all around.
Oh man. Okay, so glutes, they are such a foundational muscle for so many of your movements. So, whether you are walking or stepping or bending down to pick something up, whether you're bending like this, or if you're stepping up on something, like everything that you need your lower body to do to be a functioning human being and an independent functioning human being and not end up in like assisted living or nursing facilities, glutes are going to be pretty foundational in all of that happening. They're also the primary stabilizers for the pelvis. So pelvis is really important because that's where our lower body comes up and connects to our upper body. So if you're not strong and stable through here, you're screwed. So really important for maintaining pelvic stability, pelvic control, if you will, but all of those foundational movement patterns to support activities of daily living. Glutes are also very important for low back health. So obviously you can see like where everything comes together here. So if you don't have strong glutes, then that's where we sometimes end up overusing our backs for a lot of movements, and we don't want to do that. We want our backs to be strong too. We want them to be able to contribute to things, but if they're overworking and the glutes are contributing, there can be a lot of imbalance there. So you want to have strong glutes to support your strong back as well. Let's see, they're really important for balance. So, if you're going down to get something, or if all of a sudden you like miss a curb or miss a step, any of those sorts of situations, they're really important for being responsive and reflexive and making sure that you maintain balance and your upright position when those sorts of things occur. There's more songs about big butts than there are about like anything else. There's got to be a lot more reasons, but if that's not enough for you, then I don't know what to tell you.
No, that's pretty much what I was looking for.
Cool.
As always,
well, they're
you read my brain.
Get
out of there, Grace.
Train your glutes.
Coach Hunter, we're talking about one of your favorite subjects, butts. And I would love to know what the three best glute developers are, in your opinion.
Okay, so if you're looking at developing the glutes, the three main exercises that I would choose are going to all be something that, well, first off, I think the exercise has to include something that you can load. If you can't add load over time, then the exercise probably therefore is not the greatest exercise out there. So with that being said, secondarily, you want to be able to get some kind of a good stretch or get into a lengthened position with the load. So brings me to exercise number one. Let's see if I got enough room here. As we're standing on the deadlift platform for no apparent reason necessarily. But anyways, the first exercise, and again, we want to have load. So we're going to have load on the back, my preferred way to do it. And we want to get a good stretch in the glutes with that load. So stretch under load. What we're going to do is a walk-in lunge. So the walk-in lunge is going to look like this. Straight down. The knee should get close to the ground, but you shouldn't like slam it on the ground just for knee, for the health of your knees. You're going to step forward, and then you would step forward with the other leg. Boom, boom. Walk-in lunge, it's a great combination of lengthening of the glute, because as you bring your leg forward and you go down, you actually get a great stretch in the glute. That's why if you've ever done like 2-3 sets of walking lunges up and down, you might feel a little bit in your quads, a little bit in the glutes, but then the following day, you wake up and your butt's like super, super sore because it's such a great stretch with the load on your back, okay? Exercise number 2 is actually going to be a good morning, okay? This one's very heavy on the hamstrings as well, but I think overall it's a great posterior developer. So hamstrings, glutes, a little bit of upper back, and also the spinal erectors in there as well. But we can preface it to make sure that we're, utilizing the glutes and the hamstrings in the optimal way. So what you're going to do is just stand with the shoulder width stance. You want to anteriorly tilt at the hip. So you're trying to basically stick your butt out. Okay. I like to think about sticking my butthole up to the corner of the room there. And literally, if you do that, like, boom, take that butt and just stick it to the ceiling or the wall behind you. And then we're going down. I like to get nice and deep, big stretch. And then you're going to thrust forward. Kind of like a thrust in the air, like a hip thrust. Obviously, we don't have any load on our hips forward, but one more time. Big stretch, chest up. And a little bit of a pause, and then squeeze the glutes up. Great glute exercise to get that stretch under load, and you can load this one up quite heavily. And then exercise number 3, for my top 3 exercises to build the glutes, is going to actually just be a full range of motion squat. If we're trying to preface the glutes, we're going to go a little bit more of a wider position with the feet. But you have to get nice and deep if you want to focus on the glutes. Boom. In my opinion, because then you get that stretch, in the glutes, okay? Nice and deep. A little bit of a pause once again, and then squeeze the butt to come back up, okay? And yeah, that would be my top 3. If I was to throw in a 4th, it would definitely be hip thrust. The hip thrust doesn't make the top of the list because it doesn't have a good resistance curve. It's really easy at the bottom and really hard at the lockout, which is not ideal for building muscle. It's good for getting strong. It's a good exercise overall. I actually do them myself. But also, it does not really put much of a stretch under load because your glutes are never really getting into a stretch position, even if you get to the bottom of the hip thrust. And then when you get to the top, it's just that peak contraction. So they have their place. And they can be incorporated in the program, like I do for myself, and I use it for a lot of clients. But you still need to have the lunges, the squats. The good morning is essentially just an RDL or a deadlift. So any deadlift variation is going to be just as good as the good morning. I just really like the good mornings. But yeah, that's pretty much that. If you think about it, it's a squat, it's a hinge, and then some kind of a foot forward lunge. And or you could just say like a split squat. If you got those 3 things down, and then you also have weight, and you're progressively overloading, you're building the butt. Building the buns.
Hopefully by now you understand the best ways to approach glute training, as well as why they are crucial for our health, and perhaps the most important grouping of muscles on the body. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.